Hydrangeas in full bloom. You guys, look at these mop head hydrangeas. They are gorgeous. Today we are going to be planting up a beautiful mixed hydrangea arrangement. Now, when I do my hydrangeas, I like to use them in containers in mixed planters, and I also like to use them as standalones in groupings. For this first set of hydrangeas, I just took a beautiful aged pot and use the same size for each container. I could have stepped it down in a tier because I do have the other container. For this look, what I wanted to do is I wanted them both to be on the same level, so the eye, it just drew the eye back in. But we're going to be planting up a mixed arrangement. Now these are going into a separate space than the other arrangement is going, so the container is not going to match. Run outside real quick. I need to get my seedlings, and then from there put the seedlings in their protected place that's still cool. Let's get started. Go look at the Dusty Miller seedlings, and I'm trying to multitask and do two things at one time. I just watered in this arrangement right here. I'm going to drop this one off, put this in its place. I'm taking you all along the journey with me with the Dusty Miller seeds, and so let's go check on those real quick, and then hopefully this container right here will be standing up, and I'll get the rest of the stuff off the table real quick. This is how I have the thermostat set for the Dusty Miller. So let's go in and see if we have any more success than what we last had when we checked on the seedlings last. All right, let's get the top off of here. Right on first glance, I can see that we have some more seedlings that have come up. Well, I'm thinking maybe one more day. One more day up underneath the humidity dome, and we should have a lot more. See, it's even one peeking out right here. Can you see it? Right here. But we're not at the stage to where we can take the humidity dome off, so they'll go back up underneath for just a little while. Pretty good. So we'll put this back on. I went back and forth with what type of container that I'm going to be using for today's video. And because of the placement, because of the colors that I'm using, I wanted a container that was muted. I did not want white and I did not want black. And I knew that this container right here would be perfect. Now, I love containers. I love containers. That is no secret that I love containers. But sometimes the containers that speak to me are containers like this. This is a brown terracotta pot. It can fit in with any decor. It can fit in with any color scheme. And so that's one of the things that I like to look for when I'm on the hunt for containers. Now, when I bought this container, it was only one. If they would have had two, then I would have bought two. If they would have had three, then I would have got three. If they would have had four, then I would have had four. And I also would have got a fifth one, which would have been my spare. But because these type of containers, they're low bowls, they can sit on top of the table, they can sit at the ends of tables. They're very versatile. They fly off the shelves quickly. What is most important right now? The container, it is a supporting act. But the stars of today are going to be the beautiful plants that we're going to be popping in here. Now, I have this arrangement that I recently planted up in one of our videos. If you have not watched that, you are missing out, honey. So I have another plant just like it that should have been planted up last week. I love to keep things in bloom, and so this is simple. When you have your calla lilies and they start to fall over, and the same thing goes for this type of arrangement here. Now you can stake it up, or you can go in and you can just cut it off. It's no big deal. You can actually take this, put it in a little bit of water, add some other flowers to it, and set it on a little table or set it outside with you when you're having your coffee, and it'll just lift your day. It's going to be our primary plant or our centerpiece for our arrangement that we're going to be doing. And I have some beautiful plants that we're going to be throwing in this container, and it is going to be absolutely gorgeous. In the bottom of all of my containers, before I plop in my soil, I go in and I use a piece of screen. And then if it's an area that I'm really wanting to protect, I will also then go in and use a coffee filter as well. But these days, I'm just using the screen. So we'll get the soil in here for our base, and then we'll put in our first plant. First plant up on the list is going to be our calla lily. We're going to nestle that right in the center here. Does it look straight, you guys? I'm loving it. I am loving this. It just speaks, but you guys, you ain't seen nothing yet. We're going to use a beautiful hydrangea. Okay, so we're going to put our hydrangea right here on the side. I'm going to use a beautiful begonia. Tuck it right here on the side of this hydrangea. So is that tucked in here right? Okay. Now, these two plants right here are really just commanding the scene, and they're calling for all the attention in this container here. Now, so we have this in here, but we're not done yet because we have all of this space that we can utilize. Next plant, we're going to use a beautiful cyclamen. And we're going to just tuck that right there on the side here. Now, we do have another beautiful hydrangea here. Oh. So we're going to nestle that And I want to position it so that all of my plants, I have some of the hydrangeas that are in bloom, and then some of my hydrangeas. Let me set this container right here off to the side so we'll have more space to work. So now that we move that other arrangement out of the way, that way we're not competing, you can focus on this beauty here. Now, I want to make sure that my hydrangea, all of the blooms, and I'm going to turn this around for a second because I have a lot of buds that are budded up on this hydrangea. So I want to make sure I am turning my hydrangea so that the buds can actually show through. And so that way they're going to get light, they're going to continue to progress because it's loaded with blooms. So now that I have that accomplished, we still have a lot of space here in our container, and I'll turn this around for you guys can see. We have a big amount of space that we can utilize. So I am loving these colors here. Drop down in the comment section and let me know, are you feeling the colors of this arrangement? Because we're tugging on the color wheel here. We are definitely tugging on the color wheel. Definitely longing for spring right now. So one of the things that I'm doing is I am looking forward to spring. So I am really feeling all of the spring colors. Just anything that gives me something besides a dry hydrangea, okay? And hence we have some beautiful blue blooming hydrangeas right here. I'm going to utilize another begonia here. And I want my begonia tucked right here on the side by the hydrangea, but I'm going to lean it forward a little bit. Can you see how my begonia is leaning? And so therefore by my begonia leaning is giving me an opening right here that I can play with and tug and pull in more colors if we so choose to do such. Okay, so now since I have this opening here, to turn this around here, we have our hydrangea here. It's giving us all the colors, all of the feels. We have our begonia here. Our begonia is bringing that light color and it pulls you in. It's giving us that purity there. Then we're playing with our pink tones, which then brings in our calla lily. So it's definitely bringing everything and just making it flow. Now, when you're using a container, and you're bringing together different plants, you certainly want all of the plants to complement one another. And then one of the things to keep in mind is you want to keep in mind the watering needs of each plant. That is also going to play a part in what you use, when you use it, and how you use it. Now, you can use opposites. You can use plants that take more water. You can use plants that take less water and put them all together. Now, I am one, I've thrown in these type of arrangements, African violets. Did she say that? Yes, I did. I've done arrangements where I have taken an African violet and I have popped them in there. I have let the African violet stay in there as long as it could stay inside of the arrangement, and then I will pull it out and then I would recover that African violet because I know that my skill set would allow me to do such. Now, is that something that I say you should practice on a regular basis? Absolutely. The look is the look, and sometimes the texture of that African violet you just need it. But let me get off my little rant about African violets. Let's focus back on this container. We are going to utilize this space here, and we're going to use a cyclamen here. Okay? With our cyclamen, we are going to lean it a bit forward. Add in a beautiful tulip here. Now, I have these same tulips over here in these containers. Let me show you what I mean by the same tulips in that container. So if we walk over here, have the same exact, can you see them? Can you guys see this? The tulips right here. Same tulip right here. Can you see that? So the same exact tulip here is just used in a different way. And this container over here, we're going to use it in the same type of technique, but a little bit different. And so the way that you use your flowers, they're going to speak differently in the arrangement. What type of movement is it giving? What type of flow? What type of direction is it sending the eye? And those are things that I like to keep in mind when I'm doing my containers and when I'm going in and I'm coming up with my color schemes. It's like an artistry, or at least I feel so. It ain't really all of that. Just get some plants and throw them together and you'll have beautiful arrangements. And I'm quite sure you do. Now, I do have this flower, this tulip right here. Now, one of the things that I like to do, and I also do it with my cut flower arrangements, when I'm using tulips, I like to take a flower, or just in general, I like to take one of the flowers and I'll have that flower sitting on the table here. Now, this tulip has lasted so long since we've planted up this arrangement, because at nighttime we come in, we cut a little bit more off, we dip it in water, or I say not we rather, I dip it in water and I let that tulip rehydrate for the day. Now, will this tulip last as long as the tulips that are in this planted arrangement? Absolutely not. But it's just something that I like to do, especially with my cut flowers. Now let's get back to planting up this arrangement here. Let me get my gloves on here. So now I take my tulip and I plop my tulip on the inside of this arrangement. Just like this. Okay, now I'm going to add a white begonia. I'm going to tuck that down right there. Another. Actually, you know what? Let's take this to another stratosphere. And we did, and we did. Yes, we did. We did come right on in here, baby. And we added, let's just add it right on in here and just really just speak to spring real quick. Okay. Now tell me that is not darling. I gotta create some more space. We just gonna go all out with this arrangement. Let me go to my plant laboratory. Hold on one second. Welcome to my plant laboratory. No, you guys, you know I'm just off the chain. Okay, so over here on the side, I am going to tuck another, and I'm going to show you all this in a 360 because right now I'm just being extra. Okay, so I need one more plant in this front here. Hold on. Okay. And any of my plants, if I break off mistakenly some of the foliage, it automatically turns into a cutting for propagation. Let me clean this table off real quick.